welcome back to Living Word TV podcast, and you're watching us on Living Word TV. Welcome back to the session where we're talking about the influence of man. We've just had Ope join us, and Ope is a man of influence. And I would just like to go to you and say, can you tell us something about fatherhood that you enjoy?
Fatherhood. Well, when you say duplicate of yourself,
Duplicate of yourself.
It's fun, it's good, it makes you appreciate the God the Father, it makes you appreciate how the relationship is between a father and a son,
Wow.
so yeah.
Thank you for that. If you're just joining us, we've had a fantastic first half. You should go back and look through that or watch through it. We discussed the role of a man in a home. Our previous guest, Akin, told us that a father has to be respected, not loved. So if you have any comments about that, put it at the bottom of the chat here and let us know your thoughts towards that. And Brad Goke told us about the different phases of, from being a boy to being a man, and how that actually shapes your ideas of what you want to be and how you want to be in your own home. And Dio also gave us some very practical examples of how he grew up really enjoying the service with his father and how he grew really close to his father. And he told us about, how to train up a child, instilling in them the right values right at the very early stages of life. So this second half, I really want us to concentrate, to zoom out a little bit more and look at the role of men in our society. As black men, we live in a society whereby 31.6% of households, black households here, and this is according to the ethnic data on the Census UK website, are a single mother homes. There are no fathers whatsoever. I just wanted to just throw it out to all three of you. I don't know the statistics for Nigeria where we're coming from, but this is the society we live in. How have we got it wrong? And what can we do to bridge some of these gaps, some of these mishaps that have happened? I'll go to you first, up here, and just get your thoughts on that.
I would say it's generational, because the fathers that have not been there for the kids were not. Their own fathers weren't there for them, So and I think it's because of this concept of we not always being at home, we're always out there, trying to bring money into the house, and of course we get lost, being outside.
You get lost, always being on their own, and I really like how you've pictured that. So from the generations, fathers not being around, men being on the road, and then almost as a consequence, them being lost because they've been outside of that environment for such a long time. Can I come to you, Dio, in terms of just being able to do some comparison? Just looking at the society we live in now, whereby we have 31.9% of single women households with no father. How does that compare to your experience?
Said in the intentionality. It's we being intentional, trying to pick what we want to be ourselves.
Yeah.
Because if you look at from your statistics that you just said, I think it's a choice. Rogoke said something that caught my attention. He said he chooses to love his wife. And for us in the society, we should choose to be the leaders.
Choose to be the leaders, yeah.
We should choose to be that role model that our children would also want to be like. I think it's just we being intentional.
Intentional, okay. I want to come to you, Goke, because I want to take this to a slightly different angle. Because when you look at our community, it feels almost like if you've broken up with your partner, your wife, whatever you want to call them, your baby mama, you're absent. You don't show up for your children. Whereas when we look at the actual society that we live in and compare that to maybe our Caucasian colleagues or neighbors, you still see the father present. Even if they're not with the parents, with the mother of the, What can we do to get to that stage as a community?
I think it's going to take a while. Because if you take a step back, it's not our company to separate the split.
Okay.
So it's just like you trying a new dish for the first time. It will never be perfect. We don't understand the modalities around how it works.
Like
So,
co-parenting, you
exactly,
mean?
we We're not brought up that way.
To co-parent.
To co-parent. So we feel once you're out, you're out.
Yeah.
We don't know how to, because it's most likely going to be a bad breakup. You can't stand coming back to that person that's caused you pain
Yeah.
and say you still have to take care of the kids. Either I get the kids
Yeah. Or you get the kids.
or you get the kids. But we find ourselves in a society where these are people who it's been part and parcel of them.
Yeah.
So they now understand how it works. Divorce is not our thing.
Yeah.
It's not what we encourage. It's not what we grew up understanding. We
Yeah.
don't understand single parent homes.
Yeah.
So we are going to take a long while, I'm sorry to say,
To get there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry, can I say something to that? I think also that it depends on the aftermath of the divorce. Maybe the man has moved on and maybe he has a new wife. And so now sometimes it's also the determinant of who the woman is in the house.
Yeah.
Also, that gives the man the opportunity to also, if he can reach out or not. It goes a long way. It's not just about the man here now sometimes, because the man sometimes might have to choose.
Yeah.
It's either you with me
Yeah.
or you with them.
Yeah.
And so it goes a long way. So it takes the man to know, to have wisdom and understanding and knowledge to be able to handle that also.
Just picking up on the latter part of that sentence that you said about the wisdom and the knowledge, and also, okay, you said it's going to take us time. Ope, can I come to you and say, what is the work that you as a group of men need to do to bridge that gap, or to start doing now? You know, we like you said, divorce is not what we want in our society, but we are seeing the consequences of it. It may not happen to us directly, but further down the line, we are still overrepresented in the prison system. So as a father, as a man in the society, as an influential man, what can we start doing? What can you, I keep using the royal way, what can you start doing as men to try to narrow that gap and address it before it goes worse than it should?
Yeah, so first things first, I tell people that if you're not, if you don't have a father figure in the house, right? Go look for a father figure outside.
Go look for a
Now,
father
what do
figure.
I mean by father figure? It could be through a book. It could be an author.
Through a book, you said.
Like an
Okay.
author. It could be an author. It could be someone in church that you respect. It could be an uncle. It could be just anybody that you feel, okay, I want the life I'm living, the life I want to live, I want to model it after this sort of person. So we should make a conscious effort. Okay, now let me bring it back. Single mothers, right, should make a conscious effort to look for a man, an influential man. They can model their sons or daughters.
I like the way we're going to single mothers now. This is Men's Week, and I want us to focus on men, because I don't want us to delegate this, this duty, so to say,
we're not
just to
delegating,
women,
right?
and
No,
say women need to find, just because you're a single mother.
Yeah.
But even if you're not, because my question is not really so
see-
much as a father, but as an influential father. So it could be someone in your church. It could be someone like a neighbor or someone that you say hello to. What is your role in making sure that that person, or how can you, not what is your role, how can you make sure that that person that you're trying to develop a relationship with, that they don't go wrong?
So when you
What
say,
I'm trying to get at here is really the role of mentorship and how
Yeah.
that happens.
so that's why that's why I'm talking about because single mothers, right, find it difficult to raise men.
Okay.
Because we're going back to what you said earlier, that why don't we have men in the house, right? And to stop that gap, we're talking about let me say generational solutions going forward, right? We need to be intentional, like you've said earlier on. With the women have to be intentional, right? Looks for someone, and I'm saying that because I'm a typical example of that, right? Look for someone that is doing so well, right? Because we men, right, we follow examples. We're logical, yeah. If we see someone in the area, right, we don't have someone positive
Yeah.
to follow, but we have someone negative in the area, that's the person we will
That's
take
it,
after.
where the influence we
right?
goes into. Yeah.
So we have to be intentional to that if the father is not at home, right? The mother needs to take the child to someone she feels this is how I want my child to grow up because we're very, very influential,
Yeah.
like men, and we're influential even to boys, right? So if we don't do that, right? Like I'll give myself an example. I have an uncle that is very well to do, very well to do, and my mom would take me to his office,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Even just going to the office alone and seeing the whole affluence and everything
That kind
got
of.
me, and that's what made me say, you know what? Because my uncle is an accountant,
Yeah.
and that what made me say.
And I like that
want to
example
become-
because, you see what you want, you have someone channeling
Yes.
you towards that, and then you go for it. But I want to come to you, Bragg, okay? Like Okwe said, we are in a society whereby everyone is busy. We're always on the road, and
Yeah.
as you said. How do you find that role model? How do you find that mentor?
So honestly, it's hard in our society, but we try to narrate. Me, I don't believe in having one.
Okay.
I believe in having what I call
Mm-hmm.
stage in my life. This is what I'm dealing with.
Mm-hmm.
There's someone that has been through this,
Yeah.
has come out of it. For that period, that moment, that's my man.
Okay. Hold your thought there because I want to come back to you because that's for you at this stage in your life. Let's go back to a 14-year-old boy that is supposed to be watching something else on YouTube, but just stumbled across this. They don't have a father. They feel like they're not even sure where to go for this mentorship. What advice do you have for them?
14-year-old teenager trying to figure out life.
Mm.
Honestly, it's hard.
You're not supposed to.
Honestly, because I'm trying to think of my life as a 14-year-old, the kind of things I was.
No,
thinking
your
about,
life
like,
as a 14-year-old was very interesting. You didn't have internet.
So if I think about a 14-year-old now, I think my starting point will be what interests.
Okay.
Start from there. There has to be something drawing you to. So it's not a struggle.
Yeah.
What interests you?
What interests you? I really like that.
Who do you know that does what interests you? Get to know them.
Now,
And I
talking
like
about-
that. That's very straightforward.
Talking about
Can
what
I just come back
interests
to
you.
you
Yeah.
in terms of, because you mentioned about what do you like to do? I know you like to sing. Can you tell us a little bit more about how that has shaped you in terms of, not maybe falling by the wayside, maybe not joining groups that you're not supposed to? And then you can also discuss the idea that you had.
All right. For me, wasn't like I started singing just like that, or I never knew how to sing. But I saw people who knew how to sing,
Yeah.
and I could take Dom Wen as a role model because I was listening to Dom Wen then when I was younger. Maybe because I grew up in a Christian home.
Yeah.
So it gave me perspective of. It didn't mean I was a Christian. It didn't mean I knew Jesus then.
Yeah.
But because I grew up in a Christian home, I already.
It's almost
could
like
see.
exposure, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
you're exposed to
So I was
something
already
that you-
exposed to those things. And one of those days, I can remember vividly, I took the mic, I sang, and it was chaos. It was chaos.
It was
because
challenging, as you said.
everyone said, Mr. Man, please don't sing ever again. But I told myself I would be one of the best of the best. I was going to do it not for any other thing, but because I just enjoy giving it back to God. That's my service to God. And I told God, it got to a point where I needed to choose now, talking about the intentionality. It got to a point where I needed to choose, would I make funds out of it? Or would I just enjoy the service?
Yeah.
Service, yeah.
So that was a
goes
point
back
of
to the
choice.
enjoy it.
Now that was a point of
Find
choosing,
something that
right?
interests you.
Now, and so I look back at a figure,
Yeah.
which was my dad. And I saw the way my dad was serving, not because of what he wanted to get, but because he loved
It's passion.
doing what he was doing. So
about
that
the
gave
passion.
me a perspective too, to say, okay, if my dad could do this,
Yeah.
I could do better. So I said, okay, I was just going to serve, and I was just going to enjoy it.
Yeah.
So looking for someone, looking for something you love to do, and looking for someone that does that thing gives you a good light to what you really want to do.
I really like that. Looking for someone. First of all, finding your passion, isn't it? Finding what interests you.
But my question to you will be: a 14-year-old that is in a negative environment, let's just say in a slum or something, he doesn't know anything positive. All
There
he
in
knows.
ghetto, we don't call it slums there.
All right, in the ghetto.
Or in the council estate.
In the ghetto, yeah.
Let's call it what it is.
In the ghetto, yeah.
Yeah.
He has no positive influence. How will he get the positive
Okay,
influence?
yeah.
For
Let's
me,
go
the
back
truth
to.
is, right, even the person in the ghetto
Ghetto, yeah.
knows his,
Or in council estate.
he aspires. Yeah, he knows what's better. He may not have seen it, but he knows not everybody in the world is like this. So again, what interests you? What interests you? Who do you know that has these things or does these things that really interest you? Get to know that person. It's as simple as what you see on when we were lost in the world, the musical videos. Nelly had a plaster, we all put plaster.
So that's
Method Man had Timberland boots, we all had Timberland boots.
that's
Do you understand?
where I'm going actually. Because if we're looking for, so I think I will still go back to my previous point. I think the guardian of the 14-year-old has a lot of work to do.
Yeah.
Right? Because the 14-year-old might not even know. All he sees is a Davido,
Yeah.
with the eyes.
Yeah.
He was like, I'm going to give an example. Like in Nigeria right now, every young person wants to sing
Yeah.
because they feel, because we're all we're in an we call it Gen Z.
Comedy skit maker.
Exactly, we're in an instant
What do
generation.
people want to say in this? Because we are growing up in this society.
So-
what is influencing them, and how can you relate it to trying to find your passion and trying to
to
find?
be honest, it's still the same social media in this society that is influencing a lot of people, right? If we as men, right, what we need is men that are intentional about being a role model, not only to the children,
Yeah.
but everybody in the society,
Society.
Yeah.
right? So, like now, you could see me going home, going to work 9, coming back 5. You see me on my laptop doing some studies, doing some stuff, right? Now, the child that maybe just sees me doing that will be like, I want to, and there's
I want to be
results.
like you.
No, but there's result following. Now, what do I mean by results?
Yeah, but wait, where is that child seeing you?
Okay, now I'm talking, that will be the one at home, right?
Exactly.
But the one outside might just see you in terms of your attitude,
Yeah.
your character,
Your courage,
your
voice.
charisma.
I like the way you're all agreeing because
Yeah.
I won't say that I disagree,
Yeah.
but I am going to push you a little bit further.
Okay.
Because we seem to be putting the onus on this child wanting to be like you, having that passion, reaching out.
Yeah.
What role do you men have?
So I
to
think
reach
so I
out,
think we
to
do
be
so I think we
your
do
way?
have a role because I think about it, right? I say we don't have role models, we don't have examples. How about we putting ourselves out there more? I'll give you an example. So one thing I learned at my workplace is that thing you do that you know you are good at it. Teach others.
Yeah.
Talk about it. Let people know when it comes to, for example, when it comes to writing CVs. This is the person I go to.
Yeah.
As an example.
Yeah.
Put yourself out there. It's the same social media. Have a space, just like how we're doing, right? So people know, okay, this is what this person does. When I need help in this manner, when I need guidance in this manner, I go to this person. So I think we have a responsibility
And I think that's where
to
I'm really
put
going.
ourselves out there
Yeah.
to say, this is what we do. Then I sit back and I ask myself, so what am I good at?
Yeah.
What do I really do? How can I help a 14-year-old person? Well, I think I have an idea. If you're just starting out your career, say for example, in accounting field, you just got a job or you're about to start, you're not sure of expectations or whatever, I can talk to you. I can guide you through what the first year.
And I
second
think
year,
that's
third year,
where I'm
whatever.
really going
Yeah,
in
but
terms
so
of that mention. It has to be a
putting
two-way.
ourselves
It has to
out
be a
there.
two-way
So that's
feedback
where they then
process.
see you and say, "Oh, I like what this guy's doing. I want to know him. I want him to be there for me."
Yeah.
But what we find ourselves is, well, I'm just in my space.
But again, I think even before they come to meet you, you have to be a man that is accessible,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? And before you can be accessible, you have to look humble. You have to be someone that people feel free
Yeah.
to
Absolutely.
come
to be with.
It's all about humility,
So-
and I think
so-
it's also, when you're approachable,
Yeah.
people find it easier to talk to you. You're not going to start from what do you want to become. It might just be a simple conversation of, what are you doing, what interests
Exactly,
you. Like you said,
exactly.
going back to the role of interest. In the interest of time, speaking of interest, I just want to bring it back to we are a God-fearing church, and I want to bring it back to how men in the church, what influence, my question really is, how has the influence of men in the church changed over a period of time? Is it the same influence that they had 30 years ago that they still have now? And what are the key aspects that have changed?
I think it has changed a lot because if you
Okay.
think about it, right? So,
What has changed?
what's changed is the roles they play and the way we see them. The roles they play and the way we see them. So I come from an Anglican background,
Yeah.
vicars, wardens, and the likes. That's what you see. You see the women more with the children.
Yeah.
But now, we've not broken it down, we've simplified it to as simple as, so let's use our one, prayer cell.
Yeah.
Then you have access, which he mentioned, to then understand how someone can impact your life
Yeah.
beyond what you expect or how they think it can.
In church.
Yeah.
Yeah. How do you think that's changed? Especially growing, because you grew up in a Christian household. Your dad is a reverend. How do you think, when you were growing up, how has the influence that men in church had, the influence they had then, how has it changed compared to now and what you say?
Well, like what Brogoke said, having access to them, it's gone a long way. I can remember then, well, I had access to my father, too, but I could remember then there's some men of God that were not approachable
Yeah.
because you fear them and you look at them from long distance. Just let them be. But now I think ministers are beginning to understand that they are also role models, not just ministers.
Yeah.
They're also fathers. Our pastor said something yesterday that touched me. He said, "We're family, so come to me as your father."
Yeah.
And that's where we're getting to now. And I think if we have more of that, we'll begin to see that the church begin to shaping more people
I like that.
than even it was. Because when we have free access to our ministers
Yeah.
and we know we can tell them anything and everything, we can open up even our deepest
Yeah.
pains, our deepest secrets
Yeah.
to them,
Yeah.
knowing well that we won't be judged,
Yeah.
but we'll be nurtured to become who we are meant to.
I like that. Okay. I've got a different question for you in the interest of time. This was a very interesting conversation that we had. We've talked about access. You've talked about role models in church. One thing that we do notice is at what age do children get that access? Because up until the age of maybe 10, 11, when you go to a typical church, a children's church, it's always the women that is teaching. What role do men have in that space? And how can that be bridged?
To be honest, women are natural teachers.
Oh, there we go. I didn't see Paul was a teacher. I didn't see Paul as Jesus was in a woman.
Yeah, for men, I think because we see our role. For me, I think well, growing up, every Sunday school teacher I know knew, were women. I'd rather go to female Sunday school teacher than a man, because the men, even remembering, the male Sunday school teachers are very strict. I actually remember.
I think that's a good point.
No,
Yeah,
I'm actually remembering, because in Sunday school we split ages.
Yeah.
I actually remembering seeing that. I think age 7 there used to be a male teacher.
Yeah.
And age 6 used to be female.
Yeah.
Oh, man, I go back, I go to the age 6, And because the men, we don't take nonsense.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, women will still be like, oh, sit down there. Oh, listen. But we're like...
But in terms of access in particular, that we said is really important.
Yeah.
And that's what has changed between our father's generation and probably not even our generation, our children's generation. How can we bridge that gap, especially knowing that... women are the ones that are teaching at that stage?
Can I say something? I think we just need to make ourselves available.
We just need to make ourselves available.
That's just that.
Put yourself out there.
Yeah, we just need to make ourselves
Put
available.
yourself out there.
Because from what was said from a meeting I wasn't yesterday,
Yeah.
and truthfully, we need to put ourselves out there. We need them to see us. We need them to understand that we're here. And that's the way we can actually make it a better place. Because when they see us, we can even do better. We can do more. And one thing I know about teaching is if you teach, you yourself want to
learn.
keep being the best of you.
Yeah.
Because you want to stay that role model.
Yeah.
And so we need to put ourselves out there.
Wow, wonderful. Well, thank you so much for this amazing episode, for our Men's Week. Just before we round up, because our topic was on, or our discussion was on man of influence in the home, in the society, and in the church, I just want final words from you, Ope, in terms of, what are the key enablers to making sure that men find balance between those 3 roles?
So first things first, men need to be taught. Now, what do I mean? A lot of us get our trainings from different things and all that. No, we don't have, because when we look at the society, we have a lot of programs for women. This for women of this, but we don't have things for men. Men go through a lot. We've got a lot of mental issues. We've got a lot of that. So we're thinking of too many things. But we now need to start talking to ourselves.
Need to be taught.
We need to be taught. We need to start talking to ourselves. We need to be there for ourselves, even just men ourselves. Because when we're there for each other, it's easy to start talking to outsiders. It's easy to say, okay, bring your son, this. So for me, we need to be there for ourselves. First things first. That's where we need to be taught. We need to be there for each other. We need to be there for each other, right? And then we can start
bringing all those influence into the society. And to you, Goke?
Yeah, I think I agree. Of awareness needs to be there. How do you strike a balance? Society, church. I think standing, because it's not one size fits. Everything still boils down to
service, humility, and intentionality. And over to you, especially on the home front.
If I may end with this scripture, can we just look at the book of Psalms 1 verses 1 to 6? It says, blessed is the man who walks not in the counsel of the wicked, nor stands in the way of the sinners, nor sits on the seat of the scoffers, but his delight is in the law of the Lord, and his laws he meditates day and night. I'll just leave the rest scriptures there.
I felt that in my bones. I felt it in my spirit.
So it's for us to be intentional about God. And when we are intentional about God, we'll find out that everything that we do would be like God.
Wow, wonderful. Thank you so much. The scripture says, Romans 8:28, for everything works together for good for those who love the Lord and are called according to his purpose. Well, thank you so much to my panelists today, and thank you for joining us. Please join into our activities that we'll be doing for Men's Week. And if you have any comments on what we've discussed today, please put it down in the box below, and we hope to see you on our next episode. Have a wonderful day, have a wonderful evening, and enjoy yourself. But always remember the influence of men in the society, at home, and in the church. Have a blessed week. Goodbye.